Welcome to the February the 23rd, 1993 issue of the History of Grand Prairie as we do our history tape number 189 for It Happened in Grand Prairie. And we are very excited today. We are continuing to celebrate Black History Month, and in doing that we have invited another very special couple that have been very important to the history in our city. And we're so pleased to welcome Mr. Thomas Kellum and his wonderful wife, Oralee. Welcome, Thomas, to the show.
Thank you.
Glad to have you with us today.
It's just a pleasure to be here.
Oralee, it's wonderful that you would come along with Thomas. Thanks. Thank you all so very much for being here today. Now, let's set the stage for this wonderful history that we're going to be doing of you all. And look out into your camera, first of all, Mr. Thomas Kellum.
All right.
And right over here to your absolute left. And give us your genealogy and tell us about your parents and anything you'd like to say about your parents.
My parents, Roscoe Kellum and also Della, and they lived in Timpson, Texas, farmed all their lives and raised cattle, worked hard, and that's just about it. As far as
your parents are concerned?
Right.
All right, could you give me your mother's maiden name so we'll have that in our record?
My mother's maiden name is Reynolds.
Good, all right. Now, were there any other children born to this wonderful union other than you and a very good friend of mine, and we're going to let you name drop them too?
Right, there was James Kellum and also Robert and Lonnie Kellum.
Okay.
And Shirley.
And Shirley.
One girl.
One girl and all of you boys.
Right.
All right. Now, in amid all of these, where were you in the line and what year were you born?
I was born in 1933. I was the third boy in the family.
All right. Where were you born? Around Timpson?
Timpson, Texas.
All right. I've heard
Big
about
Timpson.
I've heard about Tenny Hall, Timpson, Bobo, and Blair, and that's always a real good place to be from. And that's sort of down in the East Texas Piney Woods.
That is correct.
All right. What's the county you came from?
Shelby County.
Shelby County, that's right. Okay. Now, growing up down in Shelby County when you were a young man, and you said your dad was a farmer and a cattleman, before you went to school, did you have to help with the chores?
Oh, sure. Every afternoon after school, I always did the chores. That was my first thing after school, is to do the chores every day for my father.
All right. Now, when you were going to school, did you have a favorite teacher or a favorite principal or someone that was just really neat and helped Thomas Kellum to become what he is today?
I guess they all was just really favorites. They all was just like a mom and dad to me. Our principal, Mr. Alexander, I guess probably would be the favorite. When I used to do the things that I shouldn't have done, he'd take me out this house and work me out there to get me in line.
Oh, now that was a good way for punishment, wasn't it?
Right.
All right, and going to school, what was the little country school you went to?
Timpson High.
Timpson High School.
Right.
Oh, yes. Well, while you were going to Timpson High, did you have any very special athletic ability, or what did Thomas Kellum do in high school?
Well, usually the guys that lived in the country like I did wasn't participate in the sports because they didn't have the way to travel and to practice and be in the sports.
That's right. So you just studied books?
I just studied books, and that was about it.
All right. Now, we're going to get back with you in just a few minutes. Of all of these brothers and sisters, would you tell us where they are today, beginning with Mr. Jim Kellum? We know he's still here in Grand Prairie, Texas.
We have Jim Kellum, which is at 2114 Sunnyvale. And, of course, we have Shirley, who's in Grand Prairie.
And what's Shirley's last name?
Shirley Kreiner is her name.
All right, we have those documented.
And of course, we have Lonnie Kellum, who's in Mount Enterprise.
All right. And how about Robert?
Robert is one that is passed on.
All right, you've lost him to death. Robert Robert passed away. So.
Right.
Well, we're glad to know where everyone is, and we know where he is because he's in heaven, and isn't that nice?
Right.
All right. We're going to get back with you in just a few minutes, but now let's establish something for Oralee. Oralee, you've heard all of the things that we've asked Mr. Kellum, and we'd like for you to look out into your camera and tell us about your folks.
My mother's name is Ruby Carlisle. Father, Matthew Thomas. And they're both deceased.
What would you give us your mother's maiden name?
Robertson.
Robertson. All right. Well, now tell us where they lived and what they did for a living and where you were born.
I was born in Dallas.
All right.
And they lived in Kaufman. My dad worked on the railroad. My mother was a cook at the hotel there.
Oh, that was great. If you had a mother that was the hotel cook, that meant that we got good food every now and then. That is wonderful. All right, do you have any brothers or sisters, Oralee?
Yes. I have one brother, Vernon, Billy, Clemmy, Walter, sister, Florence, and Candy.
All right, and I noticed with a great deal of interest that you called Florence sister. She must have been a real special one, right? All of them.
They were all special, but she's the oldest one, and I'm the second child.
All right, and would you like to tell me where any of these are today? Are there any of them in the Metroplex?
No, they're all in Dallas.
All right.
Okay.
All of them live in Dallas
Right, except the baby boy, and he's still at home in Kaufman.
All right.
And I went to Powell High School in Kaufman.
All right. And going to school when you were a young lady, with your dad was with the railroad, and your mother was probably downtown at that great hotel.
Right.
Did you have any chores to do when you were a young lady growing up?
Right, I did. At lunch hours, I would go there and help wash dishes when they were serving dinner during time, and I get my lunch there. And after school, I'd go and do chores around the house. I wasn't lucky like he was. I didn't live in the country, so.
That was great, but aren't you glad you didn't live in the country, and that way you got to have all of these wonderful other jobs? All right. Now that you have left high school.
Right. Oh, and when I was in school, I played basketball, softball. I just played all the sports that girls could play.
You were a good athlete.
Right.
All right. Is there anyone special at your school that was your mentor or real special to you, that was more than a teacher or that really did encourage you?
Right. I believe it was my principal and his wife also. They seemed like just covered me, protected me mostly when I was in school.
Would you like to name them?
B.J. Piles and Lola Piles.
That is great. And they were in the Kaufman area?
Right. They
Great.
were.
All right. All right. Now, how did you two meet? Should I ask you or should I ask her?
I think you should have asked her.
All right. Oralee, you got to tell us how you met Mr. Thomas Kellum.
We met at church. We had a tribe captain, and he would come and collect tribes money for me, and he was my captain, so that's how we met.
All right. Did you meet in the Kaufman area, or did you meet here in the Grand Prairie area? And if not, what brought both of you to Grand Prairie?
We met here in Grand Prairie, and I came up here spend one summer, and I guess the water made me come back. It was so bad here, so I came back and stayed. I came to visit my grandmother here.
Your grandmother lived here in this
Right.
area. All right, let's name drop your grandmother that lived in this area.
Eula Latham.
All right, and was she over in Dallas area? Or here
No,
in Grand Prairie? She was in Grand Prairie, so you came to Grand Prairie. What brought you to Grand Prairie, Mr. Thomas Kellum?
Oh, there just wasn't any work to do in the country, and so I come up here to get a job and work one summer. and I just decided to stay.
Where did
Come
you
in
work?
1950. Went to
1950.
work for Vandergrift.
Oh, Vandergrift. Okay.
Right.
All right, what
And
did you do?
I worked as a porter around the dealerships, and up until 1960, and then I started my own job, and I've been self-employed ever since 1960.
All right, and tell me what you've been doing. What did you start out as your business?
Well, I started out in the used auto parts. I'm what you call a jobber for rebuilders.
All right.
I make about 10% of the dealers in Dallas and Fort Worth and pick up their exchange parts, sell them back to the rebuilders to be remanufactured.
Oh, that is great. That is a wonderful line of work, and you're an entrepreneur in your own right, aren't you?
Right.
Okay. And when you moved from Kaufman to Grand Prairie, what did your folks think?
Well, I actually moved from Timpson, Texas to Grand Prairie.
All right, from Timpson to Grand Prairie, Texas. That's my, I lost my geography there and got back down in Orleans territory, didn't I?
Right.
So you came from Timpson
I come from Timpson
to Grand Prairie.
to Grand Prairie.
Why did you choose Grand Prairie and not Irving or?
Well, I had some relatives in Grand Prairie that I could stay with until I could get on my own.
All right, now let's name drop all those relatives.
Well, I had the Reeds
All
that
right.
I stayed with.
Which one of the Reed bunch?
His name was Jimbo Reed,
All right. And he was kin to you?
and he was kin to me. His wife was kin to me, and of course they just taken me in just like I was a son.
All right, and what was her name?
Her name was Simonetta.
All right, now we got to
She
get
was
her.
just a mom for me.
She really was, and weren't they sweet to just take
They
you in
was
from
just
Timpson?
sweet as they could be. They took me in and told me about all the dangerous things in Grand Prairie. They didn't lie me out after sundown.
Yeah.
Said I needed to be in. The guys was rough in Grand Prairie.
I see, yes, and that was true, probably.
It was true at that
Yes,
time.
all right. And then you have worked here. Now, you mentioned that you all met at church. I'd like to know what the church is and how'd you meet? Did somebody introduce you, or did you just sidle up to this good-looking girl, or what?
Well, I just kind of sized up to her. She just kind of run me down.
I see. She was chasing you.
She was just chasing me.
I see. And where was this magic church that you all attended?
This was the Morning Star Baptist Church,
Okay.
305 Southwest 22nd.
And do you still go to that church?
We still go to that church.
All right. That's wonderful. Would you like to name drop your pastor and some of the important people that are there?
The pastor is the Reverend Taylor.
Okay.
He's been with us now just a little over a year and doing a great job. Since he's been here about a year, he's took in something like 200 members at the church. It's just growing leaps and bounds.
All right. Now, do you have any part in the church services, or are you a teacher, or are you a deacon, or anything like that?
I'm the men's Bible teacher, and also I'm the chairman of the board of deacons at the church.
Oh, my. You have lots of responsibility.
Right.
Oh, that is wonderful. And the fact that you all are growing like mad like that really does keep you busy, doesn't it?
Right, and we're in the planning of building a new church.
Right. Morning Star is on the building move.
Right.
What are y'all going to build?
Well, hopefully we're going to build a building. It's a round-shaped type building, a dome type, hopefully, and hopefully we will start within the next few months.
Oh, that's great. I'm going to get back to Oralee a little bit now. We've gotten her down here to Grand Prairie, to the Baptist Church at least, because she was coming to this area. Oralee, what did you do as a young lady? What were you doing when you met Mr. Kellum?
I was doing housework, and I worked for Mrs. Brown,
All right.
Sue Brown, and That's about it.
Yes, and then you met at church and you all married and started your own family together, and now you have two beautiful daughters, and I'd like for you to name drop them, Orly.
Patricia Schufert and Evelyn Johnson, and they both were blessed with 3 children apiece.
All right.
And they both have 2 boys and a girl apiece.
Oh, they do. All right.
So
Now, do they live in Grand Prairie, Texas?
No, Patricia lives in Dallas and Evelyn lives in Fort Worth.
All right, but you're split right between them, so you can go
Right.
either way and have fun with the grandkids, can't
Right.
you? All right, now I'd like for you to name the 2 sets of grandchildren. Would you do that for me?
Okay, Patricia, daughter was Alicia Schufert, Eddie, and Edward. And Evelyn's daughter was Patricia, Nicole, Thomas, and Brian.
All right, so they both have a girl and 2 sons. Isn't that exciting? That is wonderful. All right, as a grandmother, have you got to have very much to do with their upbringing, or the fact that they live a little ways from you, does that give you a problem?
Right, no. When the first 3 were born, I kept them for about 2 years, and I enjoyed them very much. They kept me busy. I don't know how people with more than 4 children can manage, but when I finished breakfast, it was time to get them their bath, and that time it was time to give them their lunch. By the time I put them down for a nap, it was time for dinner, and I just stayed busy all day, and now I'm enjoying the break that I have.
Oh, you are enjoying the break. Have you ever worked outside of the home during the time that you all have been married, or other than taking care of your grandkids?
And for about a year I did. I worked for a furniture place for about 2 years, and now I'm just a housewife.
And did you enjoy working in the public?
I did.
Yes.
Right. And I've also done volunteer work for Red Cross. Did volunteer work for about 2 years.
All right. And do you have any of your church work? What do you do there? Do you teach classes, or?
I teach the junior girls,
All right.
and I'm an usher, and I'm chairperson for the Nurses Guild. We have a Nurses Guild in our church.
All right. That's wonderful. And y'all have been a member since when of the Morning Star?
Since it's organized in 1952.
1952 is the birth date, so you have just celebrated your 40th anniversary last year then, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes, that's very exciting. It won't be but about 9 more years till you'll have the big 50, and y'all can really do a bang-up celebration, right?
Right.
That is correct.
All right. Let's get back with Thomas Kellum. Mr. Kellum, tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial work. What is it like to deal with the public?
Oh, it's fun to deal with the public. You run into all sorts of peoples and all, and I've just managed to get along with more than 99% of the peoples.
That is great. Now, I do know that you have an outreach into the community other than the church. Of course, your family and the church, that's the most important ones, just in my opinion. But I think I see you at Rotary.
Right, I'm a member of the Rotary Club. I've been in there about 15 years. I worked with you a long time ago in the Chic Club.
Yes, oh yes.
The JCs, the Breakfast Club. I guess you name it, I've been there.
And in the Chick organization, when we cleaned up and fixed up and painted up everything in Grand Prairie at one time, we thought that was going to last, didn't we?
Right, we sure did,
But it didn't.
It just lasted for a little while. Of course,
Yes.
made us feel good about it,
Yes.
being clean for a while.
And we set a wonderful pattern for all of those that followed after us that are still cleaning up, right?
Right, that is so true.
All right, in your Rotary work, what is the most enjoyable part of that for you?
I guess the fellowship and with the fellows is my most important thing in the Rotary Club. I've got to know many peoples in the Grand Prairie area that I wouldn't have known.
Does that help you in your networking for your business, the fact that you're in a service club such as that you get to meet all of these new people that come into town?
Well, not really, because I didn't have a public place, you know, where I retail, I only wholesale. And of course, I guess some of the peoples that I do have a chance, like Graf Chevrolet, you know, I pick up parts there. And of course, they're not members of Rotary, but they do visit sometime.
Yes. All right. Now, in doing the work that you do, since you don't have any sons, what's going to happen to your business? Are you going to will that to your son-in-laws, or are you bringing somebody along in your company to kind of take up where Thomas leaves off when you retire?
Hopefully the grandsons might have an interest in it. I doubt it. They pretty much into sports, and hopefully they'll go on and maybe play pro football or basketball or something like that, and don't have to do the hard work like I did.
All right. Do the boys in both sides, are they into what kind of sports, and do you go and watch them?
They play basketball and football. One of the grandsons had a scholarship down to junior college.
All right, tell us his name.
In Towler. That's Eddie Jr. And he's going to East Texas State on the next semester.
All right. What's he going to major in?
I believe accounting.
And doing a little sports too?
Right.
All right. Do you get to go to any of the games down in the East Texas way?
No, I haven't. I always had a chance to go down to Towler and see him play basketball.
All right. And the other, the grandson, that's his brother?
Right. He's in the sports.
Where is he in school?
He's in school in Dallas.
He's still at home.
He's still at home.
Still at home with his mommy and just keeps on trucking. But what's his favorite sport?
He loves basketball and football.
And football. And what is his high school?
His high school is it's in Oak Cliff.
All right.
Actually, area. I forget the name of the school.
Yes. And now you're going to have to go over and watch him play basketball, aren't you?
Oh, sure, I'll have to go and support them. It do them a lot of good to be there, and they know you're there, and that's quite a support for them.
Well, I'm real pleased to hear that one of your grandsons is going into the business field, because that way you can maybe talk him into lining up with you one of these days, right?
Right. That would be good if he did. Because one of these days I'll have to give up that work.
You're going to get to retire and go around to all of these ball games.
I get to retire, hopefully.
All right. Now tell me about your other two grandsons in Fort Worth.
Well, they...
Name them and tell me what they're doing.
The other two grandsons, one of them's Thomas, and the other one's Bryant.
Yes.
And, of course, they're a little bit young yet.
How old is Thomas?
Thomas is about 7 years old.
And Bryant?
11.
Brian is 9.
11.
Brian is 11. I'm sorry.
All right, that's wonderful. So they're one of them's into middle school and the other one's into elementary, right?
That is correct.
But they're into sports too?
Right. They're into it a little bit.
Yes. All right. We need to let you rest for just a minute. And I wanted to ask Orly about the granddaughters now. Now, we let him take charge of the grandsons. Tell me about your granddaughters on both sides, Orly.
Well, my oldest granddaughter, she deceased just before Christmas. And the other one is in college at UTA in Arlington.
All right, and the one that's in college in UTA, would you name her and tell me what she's doing?
Patricia Nicole Johnson, and she's Really, to tell you the truth, I can't tell you what she's
All right,
majoring in.
she's just studying
Right,
basics.
right.
If you can keep her in college, that's pretty basic, isn't
Right.
it?
Right.
Oh, that is good. All right, would you like to tell us a little bit about some of the ladies in church that are some of your neighbors that have been very meaningful to you while you've lived here in Grand Prairie, Texas?
Yes, I have a neighbor, Carrie Magruder. She's just like her sister to me. And we just fellowship together and we shop together and just have fun together. And I bowl on Tuesday morning
All right.
with another friend. We go to the same church together. Her name is Louise Maddock. And we just have fun bowling.
Or do you belong to a team?
Yes.
Or you did, all right, would you like to
league.
tell us the name of your team and how y'all are doing and what is your average?
Oh, well, my average is 154.
Wow.
And the name of the league is Magic Marker, and my team name is Green Hornets.
Oh, that is wonderful.
And we're in position 10. We have 16 teams.
All right, and would you like to name the other members of your team?
Doris Clemon and Mary Hill, and we just have 4 to team.
Oh, that's good, and that's good exercise for us, isn't it?
Sure is.
All right, do you belong to any other groups other than church and bowling?
No.
That's nearly enough for the grandkids?
Right. That's enough.
All right. And living in Grand Prairie all of these years, what have you seen is the greatest change that's come about in Grand Prairie since you came here first?
The muddy streets are gone. We
Yes.
have paved streets now.
Oh, that is a blessing. isn't it?
Right, it sure is. I remember we had to park about 4 or 5 blocks maybe to get to the house, especially when it rained.
Yes,
And the city's lots cleaner than it was.
yes.
The people, population is larger.
Yes. And the church has grown.
Right.
That is wonderful. Would you like to name drop any former ministers or anything that have been important to the growth of the church that you can think of?
Right, Reverend W.F. Drake Jr. and Reverend William. And
All right. We have about a half-minute left, and we're going to give that to Mr. Thomas Kellum and let him look out into his camera and just tell us what living in Grand Prairie has meant to you.
All living in Grand Prairie is probably like paradise from the place where I come from. It's a great city to live in, and I'm just proud to be a citizen of Grand Prairie.
Yes, and you would invite any other young person from Timpson to come on down?
I would invite any person to come right on down.
All right.
The Metroplex is just hard to beat. I've been fortunate to know people like Miss Ruth Jackson and her husband and many, many more has helped me so much in Grand Prairie, and it's just, I'm just proud to be in Grand Prairie.
Well, I want to thank both of you all for sharing your life with me today.
Thank
for
you.
For this history tape. It has just been wonderful as we end Black History Month with 2 very special people that are really dear to Grand Prairie, that have been wonderful community people. And this is Ruthie Jackson reminding you that history is as we live and do.